Yeah, perfect. Excellent. We start the show off with a mistake just right off the bat as I put the wrong input in. How you doing, everyone? Welcome to Lenny Schmidts Quarantine Comedy. It is good to be here. Thank you all for tuning in once again to the show. I appreciate it. We are here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Facebook Live and YouTube Live. That's the way we're going to be doing it from now on. For those of you that are here, let's check and let's reload this. Thanks all of you for chiming in. Let's see. Today's a big day, man. Today's a big day. It is our guest today is a good friend of mine. You guys know him. I've known him for a very long time. It's his birthday, and he's on today. I'm very happy to have my brother Mike here for his birthday. He'll be out in a second. I'm saying hello. Wow, lots of people here already. Vince Gar's here. Yeah, Sox are up 4-0 in the ninth. I did see that, my friend. I was watching that just before we went live. We're on, like I said, 3 nights a week. We're here. Thanks for coming to the show. Thanks for being here. Before we get started, real quick, all the podcasts are updated. Everything's online. Julia's episode from 2 days ago is already in podcast form. Our podcast is now also up on iHeartRadio as well as Spotify and iTunes. You can find us pretty much everywhere. All the videos and clips are caught up on YouTube. Do me a favor, please, if you watch us on YouTube or if you are watching us on YouTube, like the video. Hit that thumbs up thing. Apparently, it's really important. They keep telling me that. Every time I check into this YouTube situation, I constantly hear, it's really important they like your video. And so, guys, just like the videos. You know what? Even if you don't like them, just like the video. Do that for me, all right? That'll work out just fine. Also, real quick before we get going, sponsors. I always mention the sponsors at the top of the show. That's something important. You got to pay respect to the people that are paying for the show. So let's give some respect to our sponsors. Let's see real quick. None. We have no sponsors. We have 0 sponsors still as we speak. If you would like to support the show or sponsor the show, feel free to do so. Right above me there, Venmo at Lenny Schmidt. Any money, any proceeds that go to Venmo, just mark Quarantine Comedy or say Quarantine Comedy in the comments. All of that money will go toward the show, which it pays for this fancy new software, microphone, all this really cool stuff that I bought. Feel free to donate money or support the show if you would like. The show also, I guess, is sponsored by my new album, Secret Daddy, which just came out 2 weeks ago. It was trending about 2 days ago on iTunes. I'm very proud of it. It's doing very well. If you guys check it out, you can find that on all different social media platforms, Spotify, all that stuff. You can grab it there. It's also supported, or we're also supported by my Patreon page. Hello to all my Patreon fans who are here. Keith Runyon, I see you're here. The Runyons, as always. The Mulligans, as always. You guys are fantastic. Thanks for being here. All the money from Patreon also goes to support the show as well, so feel free. You can join Patreon. It's like $5 a month, and you get, what do you get? I'll tell you. You get free, you get all of my albums free. I send them to you. Every album I have. I have 3 on download that I will send you, and you can get those. You get video content, all the stuff I've shot for the show. You get a writer's session or a group session for the top tier. You get that. That's this weekend for you Patreon members. This weekend at 6 o'clock on Saturday is the next writer session. We'll sit down. We'll talk to a couple of the members. Keith just did his second open mic this week. I'm very happy for him. So we're going to discuss his show, and I'll critique him word for word. I won't do that. I'm kidding. I'm not critiquing Keith word for word, but I am going to watch his video, and we are going to talk about writing comedy this weekend on Saturday. So feel free, please, to go to Patreon and join that if you would like. What else was I going to say? I think that's it, man. As far as any news stuff, let's do this. If you're going to support the show, if you're going to Venmo tonight, if you're going to Venmo me here, this is a little thing I've been doing. I will tell you, if you Venmo $25, I will send you a download of the new album that's it, just for Venmoing for the show. I don't care how often you do it, $25. If you go as high as 50, I will send you a copy of all 3 albums. So there you go. That's what I'm going to do, just for you. Just for you. If you're interested, please feel free to Venmo. Also, any news we have, the only news I have, I read the news. There's not really cruise ship news for you guys that are cruisers. Whatever. It was a bad day. They canceled a whole bunch of cruises again today. So I spent the afternoon blocking dates off my calendar. So no cruise ships will sail in the United States till sometime in mid-November. So, yay. I fully expected that to happen, but I was desperately holding on to October because I lost that was a 5 or 6 week hit I just took this afternoon. So that is gone. No more. All right, let's say hello to who's here. There's so many people. Wow, we got a lot of viewers today, man. We have tons. You know why? It's because Mike's on the show. That's why. Nobody tunes in to see me. Oh, first of all, I have to thank Robbie. Rob, where you at? Robbie is here. Yes, she is. Robbie Gandy Davis. She suggested I call. She suggested I call Tom Dreesen and see if he wants to be on the show. And he said, why, yes, I would love to be on the show. Tom Dreesen will be here next week on Tuesday. So I'll give you more information on that later in the week. Also, Larry, yes, I will be working land clubs in October. I have Oklahoma City and I have Wichita. So I have 2 weeks of land clubs. So that's I'm hanging on to that, man. And according to them, we're still doing shows. So I'm going to be there. There's no issues in Oklahoma City. My agent's here. Steve Smith is here. Mike Tishy is here. So many people are here to tune into the show. Gar is here. Lots of people are watching the show. Brenda Runyon, thank you. Larry Warden. Okay, I think we're covered. That's everybody. Anne's here. All right, everybody's here. Folks, let's get to it. You guys might know this next guy. Okay, here we go. We're seconds away from making a mistake here. Oh, I'm so close. Hold on. I've known this next guy, roughly 53 years, right around 53 years, something like that. He's a good friend of mine. He's actually, you guys know him as my brother. My brother Mike is here. And he's going to be, I keep screwing up this feed. Hold on. This could have went so much better. Hold on. Bam. Yeah, let's try that again. Folks, why not? What the hell? Let's get up from my, first of all, let me stutter my way through his intro one more time. But let's take a look at Mike Schmidt before we bring him out here. That went perfect. There is Mike Schmidt. How are you, man? What's going on, buddy?
I'm good. I don't even know what the hell. That's that ridiculous Facebook thing where you.
Dude, it is a clip of your stand-up that I had that I had it here queued up and then I lost it.
Oh, all right.
I changed the monitor. I'm gonna find it. Hold on. It's
that
here.
Might as well have been my stand-up, honestly, since the clip you probably have has got to be from 2007 if you find it on
YouTube.
It's
old, buddy. It's old.
It is old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean. You could have asked. I would have sent you something.
I did. Dude, don't you read the emails I send that say if you have a clip, send it to me?
Or you know what? You're absolutely right. I apologize. But I mean, I get no clips. I was teasing, really, because I haven't done any stand-up to speak of. I mean, I could have sent you an audio clip. Also, there's no video of me anymore. So, which is for the best for everybody, quite frankly.
There's no video of me anymore.
But I enjoyed what you just showed. Certainly, I think that girl got saved, and that's good news. That's what everybody wanted to see.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I'm looking at it right now. There's some sort of weird. Your feed went to something else. I don't even care. Don't care.
Well, this is fucking bananas for me too, because I can see me next to you, but I'm also above you in the corner, and also the guy above you in the corner is 3 seconds ahead of the me next to you.
Yeah.
So when I move my hand, dude, what a.
Are you watching on? What are you watching on? The feed I sent you, or are you watching on Facebook?
Whatever you sent me, the clip. Yeah, you sent me the clip. That's why I've been on camera. I've been this little square with me in it. But by the way, this could not be more interesting for the home viewing public. Mm-hmm. The square that I've been in since I got here never went away. So I saw your whole monologue. I saw all that stuff with me there. So I thought I was on camera. So I've been staring, hoping people weren't going, "What the fuck is Mike doing? Why isn't he talking?" But you never addressed me, so I didn't say anything, certainly. But now I'm here now. Who gives a fuck? Nobody cares.
Everybody cares. Everyone cares. Everyone's saying
you care.
Birthday.
Everybody cares.
Everyone's saying happy birthday, man. Everyone. Gar says happy birthday.
Thanks, Gar.
Brigitte Queely? Is this someone from your page?
Brigitte.
Brigitte Queely.
Yeah.
Brigitte says happy birthday. She's very happy.
Well,
Rachel Zimmerman said happy birthday as well.
Well, hi, Rachel. How are you?
Yeah, my agent gave me shit for the shitty clip. Nice. Thank you very much. As always. All right, man. Besides that, I was going to play some of your stuff from Twitch. I saw some of that today, too. I was going to upload that.
Oh, all right. Well, you should have.
There was one of you killing a guy because he wouldn't take your bounty, and that was mean. And I didn't know if I should show that to people. That was great. You went in, you're like, you're playing Red Dead Redemption, and you walk in, you're like, yeah, my bounty, and the guy's like, oh, you can't help you, and you're like, okay.
And I shot him with a shotgun. And it's too long, but in that clip, because he wasn't going to help me. So I was like, well, I have terrible news for you. And then I blasted him with a shotgun and killed him. And then I left. And then something else happened. And I was like, all right, well, I have terrible news for you. And I headed back to shoot him again with a shotgun. Because that's, you know, you can choose to be bad or good in that game, which is totally fun. But that was good. Again, I am so woefully behind. You're good. You got tech stuff. You got people. People are giving you Wi-Fi knowledge and everything's happening. You set up a whole studio. You know, I've been doing the Twitch thing for like a year and a fucking half. And I should be putting clips on every single day.
Yeah.
And I'm not. Because there was a lot of hilarious stuff that happened.
Are you live on Twitch? People go on there and see you on there, right? That's the deal?
All the time. Yeah. Like 5 days a week, at least, sometimes 6.
Right.
And yeah, I play games, and sometimes we do, there's a puzzle game we play, and everybody can kind of participate as well and play on the stream. Right. Sometimes it's just me killing things. Sometimes we just do me talking. I'll have a chat stream and I'll talk for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Sometimes I do a thing called Trailer Park, which is where I'll go into the PlayStation store and we'll watch trailers for games and movies, which I find extremely fun. And you just either they're fucking terrible or they're fun or they're great. Because sometimes you just don't want to play the games. I mean, I love the channel. I love people coming to hang out, and I love playing the games. But when you play video games, you know, 5-6 days a week on camera, it's a job, which is so then it becomes like less of a game and more of a, because you got to be on too. I mean, people are fucking watching the channel and stuff like that.
Right.
So you can't just be, you know, when you're playing a game, you veg out, you're eating pizza, whatever the fuck. But if you're on camera the whole time, you're on camera.
You're performing. Yeah. Well, I do. Todd, who lives across the pool here from me, and Colin, the two guys that I talk with and hang the most, especially Colin, they got a whole Twitch setup, man. They got green screens in their houses and stuff, and they got a whole, I mean, and it's like Colin was talking about the same thing. He's like, man, sometimes it sucks because like people are watching me the whole time, so I can't just like gel and play a game. I got to be on. I got to be paying attention, and it's like literally 6 hours, and I'm drained afterwards. They're so exhausted. It's just that's got to be draining, man.
When I first started doing it, I played Red Dead Redemption 2, and then I think I played God of War, and then I played Resident Evil 2, which is a scary game. And that was when I had my most viewers. I mean, I had 150 people in there watching me one night.
Right.
And it was fantastic, and it was crazy fun. But I mean, I would get caught up, and one night I streamed for 9 hours. You know, and I'm streaming, and also, you know, I'm at the desk, I'm landlocked. It's not like I'm like, hold on, I got to get a sandwich or whatever. No, man, I would put like 4 bottles of water on the desk. Yeah, and I didn't fucking go anywhere.
Reach or something? Do you have like a?
Of course. Who are you talking to?
Do you have the Uber guy walking to your couch?
But I'd have like a bunch of water and like, you know, 2 bags of chips and fruit, whatever the fuck, and I would play. But the one night I remember I played 9 hours, and it ended, and I was just like, Jesus Christ. And so I've kind of amended it a little bit now, and I've been limiting, because I do it so much. I've been limiting myself to 2-3 hours a day.
Right.
Because I also do the podcast on top of that, and I'm trying now not to do Twitch on the day I podcast, because if I talk for 2.5 hours on camera, and then the podcast is 2 hours, you can get burnt pretty quick.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, I can talk all fucking day. I mean, I can make that work and make it happen, but at the same fucking time, you want to be, you know, you still want to be good and at your best.
Yeah.
And I've reached this weird netherworld now where I'll talk, you know, I call it the yap. Like when I do the games, I'll sign into Twitch, and the first 30 minutes is me talking. I'm literally talking to the camera, dealing with the stream, whatever, and then we start playing games. And it's funny, new people will be like, are you going to play the game? I'm like, yeah, this is the way it fucking works. There's yap up top. You deal with it.
Hey, it's yap time.
And that's the thing, is people, it used to be just, because it was yogurt time, I used to have a yogurt and I'd do that, but now it's just yap, the yap up top. But now, I have to do it in a way where I can't, because it'll get away from me. I'll talk for an hour all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Sure. And you're just like,
suddenly
Jesus
the
Christ.
Twitch
And then
becomes your podcast.
Yeah.
Kinda,
and
right?
I forget what I've said on Twitch, and then I'll talk on the podcast and I go, did I fucking say this? Because I know I said this out loud at some point. Because, you know, I don't have a script. Everything is it just flies out of your fucking head. So.
Yeah. Right. Yeah,
it was funny to see you in the beginning of this. Because I'm used to you do an act. You know what I mean? You have your bit on stage, but to actually see you sit at a microphone and do plugs and shit like that, it was kind of funny.
Yeah, to see me stutter my way through it, I'm really good.
I don't know about stutter. No, you not until the end did you go off the rails a bit. But in the beginning, when you had it down.
Yeah.
In the beginning, but that's not you, man. And so from what I've seen, I've never seen you be controlled line delivery guy. You're usually on stage. You know, you've got your stuff and it's meticulous. But to see you be extemporaneous is not a thing I see a lot.
Don't use big words on my show, dude. I don't understand what those words mean. Extemporaneous. That's very confusing to me. So what's up with the podcast? Is it when you're on Thursday nights? Aren't you Thursdays for the podcast or Tuesday? You're not accurate, are you? You're not consistently accurate with that podcast.
Well, I was for 11 years.
Every once in a while, I'll see a post of you on Facebook because you lost something or you had a problem, and it's you screaming.
Well, luckily, no, that doesn't happen very often, thankfully. But when it does happen, you want to fucking murder somebody because, again, the show is, brace yourself, extemporaneous. So I just talk off the top of my head. So if you lose 2 hours of show, I do that.
But if you lose, one of my one of my followers, one of my 3 followers, and Mike's 25 followers, tell me what extemporaneous means.
This might, I call it talking at the speed of my head.
Right. Okay.
Does that make sense? So it's literally whatever the fuck is going to come out of my mouth, it's going to come flying out of my mouth. I'm not even going to think about it. There's no script, anything like that. So you just trust yourself to where you're going to go. So what I'm saying is I've sometimes done a 2-hour show and then the audio has disappeared and I can't recreate that again because I did it all in the moment. And that's a drag. But the show, for 11 years, the show came out Thursday mornings. Right. And just recently, the past year or so, it's been, Thursday, sometimes Friday, sometimes Saturday. It still comes out every week.
There's a pandemic. There is a pandemic. It affects everything.
But even before the pandemic, I was fucking around a little bit.
Well,
you know what I mean? It's just, but also I'm just a fucking terrible guy. I mean, I seriously, when I used to have a producer, it's the truth. When I had a producer, I had to go to.
Go ahead. You procrastinate, maybe. Maybe you procrastinate, or you or maybe occasionally lazy, but terrible guy. That's a little harsh. On your birthday, there's no way to talk to yourself about that.
Well, when I had a producer,
shared a link to the thing. Oh, Bianucci shared the extemporaneous, the definition. Thank you very much, Bianucci.
There you go. Good for Dennis.
Bianucci saves the day once again.
Nice.
Okay. Spoken or done without preparation. Thank you, Dennis. Got it. All right. Perfect.
There you go. So I've just when I had a producer, I had to be at her house on Tuesdays to record, and then the show went up on Thursday, just the way it was, because I had somebody to be accountable to. Now that I do it myself, I make myself less accountable, and I should be accountable to the fans who are expecting the show on Thursday morning, which is super nice. But then they've also been very understanding, which don't be understanding with me because I'll take advantage of it and I'll fucking ruin you. I'm literally, I wish it wasn't the truth.
Look, don't give me an inch because I'm going to take several miles.
I will. It's sad but true. Yeah. There's there's the line in the Tool song where he's like, I will find a center in you. I will chew it up and leave. You know what I mean? It's just like, yep. You know what I mean? People are very gracious and nice. And I'm trying to grab the reins on it and pull it back to doing the show and getting it out on Thursday morning. This week will not be that week. I will tell you that. But next week, hopefully, will be the next week.
Right.
But yeah, it's hard. But I've been doing the show 12 years, and I thought about it today because I want to do a Zoom call today.
Yeah.
People are unbelievably gracious. I mean, you meet people on the cruise ships and then they connect with you on social media and they become your fans and then possibly even your friends.
Right.
Well, I feel stupid. Like I have a fan club page on Facebook, but I feel stupid even saying I have fans because these people are my friends, because for 12 years they've learned about my life. That's what the show's been about. I've told them basically every aspect, every in and out they could possibly hear about my life. So they know me as much as they know anybody they've ever met. And so it's weird to be thinking of them as fans when we have this ridiculous common ground, And so I did a Zoom call today with some listeners, people who come to the Twitch streams or listen to the podcast and who I've grown to have relationships with. And they sent me birthday gifts. And I opened them on the show and on the Zoom call, and it's such an odd life sometimes. You know what I mean? That because I constantly talk myself out of people liking me or what I do, and then it's reinforced when people do things like that, where you go, oh well, there is value to what I do, and people do like what I do, and it's a constant rediscovery of the fact that you matter.
Yeah. No, that's just a great way to put it, man. That's true, but they're supportive. They just, once you open up and you start to talk to them, they don't just like you. They become supportive and they're interested in what you're doing and thinking,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they've been through my heart getting torn out of my chest twice, once on the air basically.
Yeah.
Because I did a podcast the day after my wife left, and my ex-wife. And that that shit was ridiculous to do, but I did it, and they were there through it, and then they were there when my everything seemed to be fixed and everything was going to be okay, and then then I turned into I wound up getting my heart torn out again, and then but people have been there for it the whole time, which is kind of amazing, and I always said, when I started the show, it's in the people always call their stuff, they'll be like episode 6 or episode 11 or whatever the fuck, or I've always spelled it out. Episode, the word like 11, year 12, all the words are spelled out, because I always said it was more of a book than a movie. I said that from the jump. More of a book than a movie. Now, did I think I'd be writing this book for 12 fucking years? No, I did not. That's why this show's called The 40-Year-Old Boy, and today's my 53rd fucking birthday. There's clips. People will mock me. They tease me because there are old clips of me going, Jesus, if I'm doing this show in fucking 4 years, put a bullet in my fucking head. And hey, and literally now and now I just white knuckle the shit out of this because it's all I fucking have. So.
Yeah,
it's the one thing I have that's mine.
Yeah, but you're like, I was listening to some of because you upload them to YouTube, right? Because I listened to some of them on YouTube, and one of the things you were in there talking about, and it's a great example for what's going on right now. It's something that you have, but it's something that you have control over. It's something that you control, period. And the segment I listened to in the podcast that you were talking about was something like you going out, you eating right and going out and doing healthy or exercising. And in this time, especially this pandemic, when it's so fucked up right now, nobody knows, you know what I mean? We didn't know how long this is going to long. Now it looks like it could be longer. And, there's some people many people are in way worse shape than I am right now. I'm very fortunate. I'm surviving. I'm doing pretty well. But it's an unpredictable time for everybody. And I think it's a scary time because a lot of people lost jobs. But so everybody's embracing things that they can control. It's the only way to get through something like this. So that's kind of what you're doing exactly with the podcast. That's why I started doing this show. It was something, I mean, I had fucking nothing. I was sitting around staring at the wall going, well, fuck, now what do I do? So now
our industry, they took a fucking cannonball to our industry. I mean, it's ridiculous. You mentioned the cruises. I don't know what you're going to do. I mean, I hope great things happen, and I hope it turns around. You say you're going to Wichita and Oklahoma City. I don't want you to go. Yeah. I saw D.L. Hughley almost die on stage in Nashville. I mean, I recognize that people need to do what they need to do to keep staying alive and make a living and all that. And I've been incredibly lucky, like I said, because I do the podcast, I do the Twitch streams, and people are gracious because I even said, I go, look, after 12 years, a lot of people support the show, but if you've never supported the show, this is the time to support this show. Because this is now it. You know what I mean? Like I've done every side hustle on the fucking, you and I ran ribs. I ran people and Uber. I've done all sorts of crazy side hustle bullshit. Yeah. But all of that is pretty much dried up right now, at least for the time being, certainly, and for the future months. So what I have is what I've built and what people are willing to support. And I'm very lucky in that people have manifested their support financially and helped me out at a time that really I needed. Which is great.
No, I'm with you in the same, and I'm just starting out doing stuff. You're 13 years into doing stuff, and I've only been doing the show for a few months, and I have a handful of really great supporters, but they're amazing. I mean, the people that really support you, man, they're there. All my Patreon members, like I said, Larry Warden stepped up big time this last week or two to help me with some of my Wi-Fi stuff. I've got a guy, Alex. I think Alex is here. I didn't see his name, or I saw him signed in. He helped me with some video stuff early on. Everybody's and people, they join the Patreon page. People throw money at the Venmo. You know what I mean? Well, we're speaking. I'll throw the Venmo up there. And they got all kinds of stuff. People that really support you. But it's funny because I think we were heading this way. You were ahead of the curve on this, because when everybody started these podcasts, you, Jimmy, look at Joe Rogan, where he's at now. It's no longer having one show on a network and being huge. It's having a small niche show that a lot of people are really interested to, and they support it. So everything's been divided down into a smaller micronism, don't you think?
Yeah, it's the Malcolm Gladwell 1,000, whatever, 1,000 supporters. I think that's his. Or no,
Yeah.
he's the 10,000 hours guy. Whatever. People have said if you have 1,000 hardcore fans, you can make a living, a good living.
Sure.
If
Yeah.
you have 1,000 fans who will buy everything you do and are invested in what you do, then you're doing great work. Things are going well.
Shit,
And
what
it's
about
also funny
80?
because
What about 80?
huh?
What about 80?
Well, if you look at what's funny is if you look at my Patreon, I have like 95 people on my Patreon, but if you look at how much I make on my Patreon, it's they all get they all kind of go a little further than they should. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I don't have a lot of dollar people, which is nice. I like the dollar people certainly,
Sure.
but there are people who step up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And yeah, I used to joke all the time. I've done podcasts in the past and stuff. Like your show's an hour, right? You do this thing; it's basically an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I don't know how
but
you
you're
do that multiple. That's a lot of time, dude. My head
well, like I
hurts.
said, when I went out on stage and did the live shows in 2012 when I was doing the Success Is Not an Option tour, I did 3 hours and 40 minutes in St. Louis.
Yeah.
I did like 3 hours and 25 minutes in Atlanta, and people were into it. I will tell you this because it's like if people weren't into it, they'd fucking leave, and that would be fine. I would totally understand it. But then you set this weird baseline for yourself where now in my brain I'm like, all right, well I got to do that. I got to do that. When in reality, I could probably do it in and out in an hour, but I talk till I'm done. That's how I've always, like I said, I own this. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I do podcasts, and I've probably said this on your show even before. And guys, I'll sit in and they set the clock. They're like, and they go, all right, and we have an hour to talk. And I'm like, why would you ever do that to yourself? This is the only thing you own. There's no rules at all here. So
Mhm.
just talk until you're done talking. I mean, it's a conversation. It should be fun and interesting. But I will say this: then you listen to some podcasts, and you're like, Jesus, shut the fuck up! Like, why are you even talking 9 minutes? It doesn't. It's terrible.
Yeah. There's a few podcasts from 4 minutes in. I'm like, really? I could
Yeah.
handle this for 7 minutes, let alone. 90.
You know what? Dude? You know what the worst thing about the worst? This drives me crazy if I hear a podcast, and it happens a lot with sports podcasts. Well, first of all, everyone in the world has been poisoned by thinking that they're funny. Everybody in the fucking world thinks they're hilarious, which is a non-starter. It's terrible.
Completely wrong, right? It's wrong.
But it's something I've been struggling with in what I do because now it's by this weird osmosis. I'm wondering if I'm funny. And I know that's the craziest thing in the world because I've made a living for 30 years.
You can't say that. Yeah. If you make
but you become
yourself.
fatigued. But you become fatigued and exhausted by everybody having a megaphone and a fucking voice. So then you think, well, if I don't think they matter, why the fuck should I matter? It's a weird trick that my head plays.
Yeah.
But I'll listen to sports podcasts and I'll listen for 5 minutes,
Right.
and they're laughing at everything each one of them says.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Even though none of it is funny.
Well,
Because they're filling the silence. They think because they think they're trying to be funny. So they're like, they're laughing just because it's an unconscious reaction to what the fuck is going on. Because we're supposed to be funny, so let's laugh uproariously at everything we say.
Well, they know they're thinking of like morning shows and like the Stern Show or even any morning zoo. That's what it's supposed to sound like. It's supposed to sound like chaos and laughter and insaneness. So even if it's not funny, they just fill it in and they do it. And a lot of the sports too. I can't listen to some sports podcasts I can't listen to because the first 10 minutes is about their life and what they had for dinner. And I'm like, just get to the pitching staff. Just let me know how. I want to know how Gray's shoulder is. Just that's all I want to know.
Because they have a microphone. You're fucking right, dude. Because they think they're interesting.
Yeah, right.
You're not
exactly.
interesting.
So this
I want to hear about a rotator cuff.
Yeah, right. This whole format, the thing I'm doing right now. I'm sure there's people who watch this show and they're like, "What an asshole," and turn it off and go and don't care, and that's fine. But this is the best and worst thing that's ever happened because so many people got this and are like, "Oh, I can do my own show," and they should never be doing a show.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've talked about it on my show. Social media is just the death of discourse because everyone has a take. Everyone thinks they're funny. And again, but it's funny, like you just said, I'm sure there are people tuning here and they think I'm an asshole and they turn me off. That's what I'm talking about when I say I have the voice in my head that goes, why should you talk? Why do you matter? Why are you funny? You know what I mean? It's just...
Yeah, but you talk because you have something to say. Who cares? Don't think about, like, I don't care if the hardest... Also, here's another thing about this thing. I don't know if you might get, I don't think you have to deal with this in the podcast, but I can look up and see how many people are tuning in, watching, and signing off as you do this.
Yeah.
And that drives me crazy.
Yes.
Sometimes I'll look up and see a 3, and I'm like, what the 3? You know what I mean? I spent all day putting together this software, you know what I mean? And it just drives you crazy. So I try, and I'm not saying it's easy, because it's not. It's hard. But I try not to worry about what's happening on the outside of this area right here where I'm at. So I just say what I think is interesting, and you connect with a handful of people that are really into it. You know, that's kind of the niche part of it. You know, there's people that have literally watched every episode I've ever done.
Yeah, you control what you can control, and I understand that. I do a show, and then I put it out there, and I hope people love it. What I would love to hear, I'd love to get feedback. I'd love to hear that people like the show, or they don't, or they do, or whatever. And because I don't think there's anybody who can do what I do. I truthfully don't think there's anybody who can sit down and do a fucking 2-hour show off the top of their head and be entertaining and poignant and then entertaining again. Like I said, it can be gut punch funny, and I've made people cry. Right. So I mean, I think what I do I'm really fucking good at. But occasionally you can get in your own way and start to wonder and worry, and it's just the nature of what we do. I think,
sure.
You know, because also you're on stage and you're getting immediate reaction.
Yeah.
If you're on stage, you're getting laughs or not, which is even fucking worse. But to do a show, and then, you know, you've worked in enough fucking acting roles where you're like, I hope I was good. I guess I'll know in 4 months. You know what I mean? Right. When that thing airs or whatever the fuck. So that's how it is with the podcast a little bit. You know, you sound like you can sometimes feel like you're shouting into a void because it's just me and a microphone.
Right.
And then when it comes out, I hope people like it enough. There's a guy named Jason who's just fantastic. He's a fan, and he started doing these little recaps of my show. He'll just post all the stuff, kind of like a bullet point thing of what I've talked
that's
about.
Cool. Right on. That's great.
And it makes me crazy. Well, it's funny because in the beginning of the show, like in the first couple of years, I had there were these fans, Hannah, who's a friend of mine, and Leanna, and not Liana. I have a friend. There's a woman named Liana, and then a woman named Leanna. So this is not Liana. So I just wanted to know I didn't pronounce her name wrong. And then there was a guy named Rich, and they started to do show notes. They wanted to do that. Well, they lasted 3 weeks because my show is fucking, I mean, it's word dense. I mean, literally it'll be 2 hours of me, and I don't breathe sometimes. it just comes flying out. So They would try, and there'd be these like massive paragraphs of, he talked about Nightmare on Elm Street, and then he talked about Jesus. And then it was like all these, and they tried to run all this down, and you can't keep track because it's literally, my head is just flying, and they got exhausted trying to do it because they were doing it for free. They're not doing it for free, not getting paid. So listening to the show was 3 hours, and then trying to recap the fucking thing was 6. So that's a lot of time to give to a guy you don't know.
Right. Would somebody I like the Kiss. Oh, okay. Robin likes your Kiss Cup. Robin Greenberg is a fan that watches.
Oh, Robin, what's happening? I have 2 today. We have the Demon today.
Oh,
where is he? There he is. I got a Gene and a Paul.
I have the bobblehead. I have the Paul Stanley.
Oh, Paul. I have the Paul bobblehead too, as a matter of fact.
Oh, Star Child, nice. Star Child,
he's the best.
Mike's show is called 40-Year-Old Boy. That's the podcast. Someone just asked about it, so that's the name. If you didn't see it, I'll make sure it's in the bio. A lot of people on here watching the show, this feed right now, know it. There's a lot of people, supporters from your page, that are here watching.
Well, you can go to if you go to youtube.com/the40-year-old-boy, and it's the number 40. Yeah. So it's youtube.com/the40-year-old-boy. You're going to get, the archive is on there, all 12 years. So up to the minute. I believe last week's is up there as well. So.
Yeah, it was. I was on there earlier today looking at stuff. So here we go.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we have a dead air. So let's see if I can do this without screwing it up. I don't know. Let's give it a shot.
I'll tell this story. You want me to tell a story? If you want to fill some dead air, I'll do that.
No, I don't. I want to show some pictures of Mike when he was little. Hold on.
Oh, good Christ. No one knows what's happening.
There we go. Ah, that worked. It worked perfectly. There we go. There's a shot of Mike right there. These are. I showed pictures last time, and Mom's not here, by the way. People are asking, is Mom here? And I texted her and said, Mike is on today, and she goes, all right, I'll try to tune in. that was it.
Yep.
That was it.
She'll try.
Thanks, Mom.
Well, I'll tell you, she was here the last time, and that's fucking dangerous because then everybody's like, you got to have your mom on a show with you guys, and I'm like, no.
No, I like it better when she's typing into the void and she's just typing things. That's always good. That's impressive. All right, there we go.
Lord.
Go. Look at that.
I
I
remember
like
that shirt. God damn.
every picture you have some sort of left profile going on. I noticed as I went
Yeah.
through all our pictures today. There's some sort of left profile, except for this
Look
one.
at that chopped up haircut.
This is easily my favorite picture of you today. As
Oh
I found this one. Look
no,
at this, everybody. Yeah, I love that.
that's
Look at the look of confusion on your
nightmarish.
face.
I'm stunned. What the hell? I don't. Where was that even taken?
It looks like it was taken. I want to say grandma's house in Wisconsin. Does that look right?
Well, that's pretty clearly Halloween because there's pumpkin stuff on the table. We were carving pumpkins. It looks like.
Oh, I want to say that's at Judy Dreyer's house. Remember, didn't we spend some Halloweens at Judy Dreyer's house? Do you remember that?
I told a story about Judy on the podcast once, and it was a big deal. It was like it was. Do you remember when we went to their? Was it their? Oh, look at that giant face! Jesus Christ, what are you doing?
Dude, I wanted to show some before pictures of you, dude. It was really important. It showed the weight loss is phenomenal. There's a couple. I was going to show a clip from Jimmy's roast, dude. You're huge in Jimmy's roast. That was another.
Well, yeah, I was a monster, and I was fucking hilarious at Jimmy's roast too.
Yeah, dude, the stuff about Bruce was the best.
Oh no, look at that!
I love that.
Holy Jesus!
I like that.
Yeah, look at the mullet.
Yeah, it looks like you got an amoeba eating your head.
Boy, I liked stripes. I was a stripes guy. I remember that shirt too. I liked that.
And for a big guy, it's not a good call. It's weird. You know what I mean?
I look good in all these photos. Fuck off. They look great. Look at that. That's a great picture of me. Dude, that is a great picture of me in those stripes.
Okay, watch. Our brother Scott is actually watching. He just told me right now. He just sent me a message. Scott and Catherine are watching. Scott's the little one.
Andy.
At the front of the four of those there. Obviously,
Scott
Mike and I are in the back.
Dolphins. See, but all right, you look at me there, all right, because if you look at the last photo with the mullet, I look like a man. I look like a grown man. Here, yeah. I look like a 17-year-old girl. What happened to my fat face and my goofy hair?
We all look like 17-year-old girls at this point. Wait, this one.
I look terrible.
Better. Look at that.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this is.
There you go.
That's a little later in time.
That's
when Glenn went through his Clint Black stage.
No, are you kidding? No, that's when Glenn went through his fucking Judge Holden from Blood Meridian. Here's my favorite picture. This is all right. So that's from my wedding. Okay, yeah. And go show it big again so we can look at Scott's face.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't going to bring it up.
I'm going to bring it up. Fuck that. We had a rehearsal dinner. So we had the rehearsal dinner. What was it, like 3 days before the wedding? I think it was. Yeah. And Scott walks in the door, fucking beat the shit.
Yeah.
Like his fucking eye is swollen. You can see it there. I mean, this is 4 days later, or whatever the fuck. And he got into a bar fight or something the night before the rehearsal dinner, and I'm just like, what are you doing, man? But you know what? Though it's on brand. I mean, it's on brand for us. That totally makes sense that one of us would do that.
Sure, at least one of us would have to have a black eye in this picture.
Right, just 4 idiot Irish kids. So well, thankfully all 5 of us are there. But yeah, so he showed up all beat the shit, which was great.
This is a good pick.
Oh, there's me and Mom.
There you go.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that curly hair I got.
That's classy.
Mom looking good. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, Mom not.
Great picture, Mom. Great picture of Mom.
It is.
And
not here to see it.
I went
sure.
Right from the Facebook in the Bolingbrook sweatshirts.
Yeah, I was in Portland, and my buddy. Look at that. That's after. If you go to one of those giant fat pictures, this was about a year after the surgery. So when I had that big, because I weighed 510 pounds at one point. Yeah. And then I got down here to probably like 255. I look disturbingly like Jimmy Dore in that photo, believe it or not, in the face, in my opinion.
Hey, you do a little bit.
I think I do. I kind of do.
You kind of have the Dore smirk.
Yeah. Yeah, so, oh my good Lord. Well, I didn't realize you're going to drag this out, but yeah, there you go. It's a good looking fella.
There we go. All right.
Look at you pushing buttons and making things happen.
I got it all going on, man. I'm still playing with the software, man. I got a whole video planned. I got a whole bunch of stuff planned. You know what's cool is I can produce a stand-up, like an internet stand-up show. I did one Saturday. It's not a Zoom show. It's done through here, and it's better because I can control it. It's great because there's too many problems.
So it's just you doing stand-up in your kitchen?
It was me in my bathtub doing stand-up. No, it was me and Jeff Jenna, actually. So I set it up so I can have multiple guests on here. So like I can go back and forth and then out, and then it's just me and you, and so I do stand-up, and I zoom in on him. He does stand-up, and everybody gets a feed, and we go from there. So I can produce a whole show, a whole live show from her if I wanted to.
my friend, Bill Dwyer.
Yeah, I love Bill.
Bill's fucking hysterical, and he's been doing Zoom shows through like Flappers and these other places. But I said, do you stand up? Do you hold a microphone? Like, what do you like? Do you do that? Do you hold a microphone and stuff when you're doing these things from your house?
I do. I gotta.
Do you really?
Well, the first one I did sitting down, and somebody said something about it. They're like, "Oh, I didn't realize you're gonna be sitting down." And I'm like, "Yeah, I felt kind of weird." And then, believe it or not, when I do the stand up, sure, like this is different because I sit here and I talk and interview and shit. But then when I do the stand up, I got a whole orange background I bring out, and I got a stand up, I got a mic stand, and I just do it like a regular, like I'm at a club, but I don't move. It's weird. I have like a 2-foot area, because you got to stay on the webcam.
Yeah.
So that's basically it's the only that's the only memory of my past life that I'm hanging on to. Was I'm doing a little stand up, but then I realize, and I'm here, I'm in my apartment, and then I'm loud, so I'm yelling. I did the therapy bit, anger management or whatever, which is a lot of yelling.
Yeah.
So there's people at the pool, and I'm like, oh, I didn't really think this through. So screaming.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I'll play Twitch, and I'll shoot somebody. I'm like, boom, fucking sit down, and windows are open. People are at the pool, and I'm just like, oh Jesus.
People trying to cook out.
Oh, dude, when I played that Resident Evil, like I said, I'm playing 9 hours, so it's fucking 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, and I'm streaming and playing like a psychopath and yelling and shit, and it's just. But I mean, I've also recorded the podcast here at 3 in the morning, and I'm, that's just. I can't, because these walls are pretty thin. I mean, I used to be able to hear fucking my neighbor's TV all fucking day. But I don't know. I mean, I guess nobody's complained about it yet, but we'll see. Maybe they figure they don't have to download the show. Then I got no fucking.
You haven't heard anything yet. I think you'll be all right.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Steve Rabb is here, man. Steve Rabb, the one and only. Steve, I'm glad you're here. He fucked up his back, so I spent part of the day on Facebook, so I saw that he moved. Him and Scott are opening a pizza place. I don't know if you know this, but they're opening a pizza.
I did not know this. So it's Steve and Scott they're in where?
They're in I want to say North Carolina or something like that.
Tennessee? Weren't they in Tennessee?
Could be Tennessee, one of those two places, I think. Yeah, North Carolina, Tennessee. That's it. North Carolina, Tennessee. All right. I want to say Tennessee. You're right. I think it could be Tennessee. If he's still on, we'll find out.
I don't know.
But yeah, it's a big thing. Steve just left his job. It's a big deal. They're starting a whole new thing, and he drove down there.
Okay.
And then he.
So for anybody who's tuned in here who has no idea who these fucking people are, they lived next door to us when we were kids in Romeoville.
I actually had a picture of Steve Rabb here. I saw earlier.
Well,
today.
tell them who these people are. You're like,
neighbors.
Steve is here. Hi, Steve.
They lived next door to us. There was Scott and Steve Rabb, and then there was
and Sharky and Sam
the
and
Dobermans.
Mo
and Carol, their mom, Carol, who.
Yes.
Carol was, I think he's at Carol's house now. Carol came and saw me do stand-up at Sinise's once. And I did that bit about mom in the street fight, and I totally forgot that Carol was involved in that fight. You know what I mean?
How could you forget that? She's 8.5 months pregnant.
I know. But I didn't really, I've been doing the bit. I go.
That's why the fight started.
Yeah, I know. I didn't really, but it didn't hit me till after the show because Carol was crying. She was like, "Oh my God, that was beautiful." And then it hit me. I'm like, "Oh my God, I totally remember my mom was defending you in this fight in Romeoville."
Yeah.
Okay,
that story's on my CD.
That's on the new album, Secret Daddy, folks, as well. If you want to tune in and grab that album, the secret, the mom street fight bit is on the Secret Daddy album. Yeah.
Wow, you can Rashomon these things and listen to my take and his take and see what each one of us thought.
You should do all of that. You should listen to back and forth. Is that on your album or is that on your podcast?
It was on my CD. It was on the CD, The Big Angry, which I still have, and I think, I don't know. You can listen to it on Spotify or whatever. You don't want me to sign it. I mean, literally nobody. I don't even think I sell it on the website anymore. I might, but I might not.
People ask me all the time. Every once in a while, somebody will be. Somebody will always be like, "Oh, let's. Do you have CDs like that you could sign?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not buying it. I'm not."
Well, I do mainly because the fucking dude, my package, my CD package was gorgeous. Mex did the painting for the front and the back, and on the inside,
dude, Mex is good, dude. He's money. I wish I had a Mex over here to handle my
dude.
shit.
Exactly. Everybody should have a fucking Mex. Yeah. But the character from my show is Little Schmidty, and then we have. Remember when I was on your show last time? We had Horn Boy in the back. Those things.
Yeah.
Well, the CD is just Horn Boy. On the CD itself is the logo for Horn Boy. He's that I can't explain to you how beautiful it is. It's like when I got it, I just was stared at it like it was Christ. I was so happy. And I wrote a ton of liner notes that were extremely important to me, and there's painting. It's a beautiful package. Like I said, the CD itself is great. The show was really good, but the package itself, the whole thing was just really, I was proud of it. And it's funny, this was the year 2020. I'm like, you know what? Because this was called the year of I will. So I was going to lose a ton of weight.
Oh, you mentioned this last time.
Yeah, get back on the road and everything went to fucking hell. Everything went to hell, dude.
Yeah, then
so
the world
stupid.
fell apart. Damn it!
Yep.
Screw the world for not following my plans.
But I had hoped to have another CD by the end of the year, and I had shows planned in Ireland, and all this kind of bullshit, and everything just fucking, I talked to Bianucci today, and I'm like, dude, I might just get into a car and drive to Denver and just like hang out with you for a couple weeks. He's like, don't hesitate, whenever you want. Because what the fuck else is going on? Nothing. You know what I mean? So what the hell? Terrible. You're the host. Jump in, host. Jesus, look, I got to fill all the fucking time on my
I'm the
goddamn
host.
show.
I'm the producer. I'm doing the tech. I'm pushing buttons. I got all kinds of shit going on over here. I'm trying to read the thing. People are saying stuff.
I'm going to tell this story just because it's not even a story really, but it's an anecdote. So when I was a kid, I will tell this anecdote. When I was younger, you'll remember this probably because you were there, although you may not remember it. It is my birthday today, 53, but back in, I got to think it was 75. I was probably my 8th birthday, I would imagine. It was 7th or 8th birthday. I don't know if it was 74 or 75, but Lenny and I used to go to Kelly Day Camp, which was a thing in Chicago where we'd go. Basically, it was like my mom put Lenny and I in day camp. She'd take care of the other kids or whatever she had to do. My dad would go drink and punch somebody and get beat up in an alley, and then we'd have a fun time doing jumping jacks and whatever crafts. So we had to go to day camp in the summer.
From the camp, he drank right around the corner from the camp. At Lucky's was right there by the camp. So.
Yes, it was. So we would go to we went to Kelly Day Camp. So then it was my birthday. And the morning of my birthday, I was like, you know what? It's my birthday. So my mom was like, all right, get ready. We're going to camp. And I go, Ma, I don't want to go. And she's like, what do you mean? And I said, I don't think I want to go to camp today. It's my birthday. She goes, really? And I said, yeah, I don't want to go. I'm just going to stay home because it's my birthday. I can do what I want, right? She said, yeah, you can do what you want. No problem. And so she left and she took Lenny to camp. And I stayed home and did nothing. Because guess what? There was nobody to play with. People were at camp. And so I just sat in the house. And it was fine. I was still like, at least I made my choice. I was like, I got to do what I wanted on my birthday, which was stay home. But there was nobody to play with, nothing to do. So then we went to pick up Lenny from day camp. And my mom drove me. And Lenny gets out and he's got balloons. I'm like, oh, man, you got balloons? He's like, yeah, there was a party. I said, what do you mean? And he goes, there was a birthday party for you. I said, for me? He goes, yeah, for you and another kid. He goes, it was for you and another kid. There was a birthday party, and we had cake and balloons, and we got to play games. It was great. And I was slack-jawed in the back seat, and my mom turns around and she goes, yeah, I knew there was a party for you today, but you decided you didn't want to go to camp, so I just figured you're big enough to make your decision, so I let you stay home to teach me a lesson about making your own decision. Fuck yes, she did that. I can't believe you don't remember it.
I don't remember that.
And it's one of those stories that, like, for the first 30 years of my life, I would tell as a funny anecdote, and I didn't understand why everybody would look at me like, ooh. But then after going to therapy or whatever the fuck, and realizing when you grow up, you're like, oh man, that's a brutal fucking story.
Man,
like,
that's not a good story.
my mom literally knew there was a birthday party. Yeah. She knew there was a birthday party for me at the day camp, and to teach me a lesson about being a grown-up, she let me stay home by myself while my party went on without me.
Dude, the saddest part for me about that story is I can totally see Mom doing that. Totally see that happening. Like,
yeah, there's no doubt. Yeah. I love the fact that she because I said it that morning, and she never once said, well, you don't want to go to camp? Wouldn't you want to go and like be with your friends or whatever? She was just like, okay, you want to stay home? Cool. And then later was just like, yeah, I knew there was a party for you. This is like, because you know how she is. One time I ditched school. Did I tell the story on here about the ditching school when you fucking ratted me out?
Which one? Oh, there's several ditching. So we told one of them, but I don't think it was that one.
We told the
other
libido one. No, fuck
The
this.
Harold
I didn't
one.
ditch school. I didn't ditch school. You were on
this is when
suspension.
you were sick. I love this story.
Dude, no, it's fucking terrible. I had walking pneummonia, right? I'm in 8th grade. I got walking pneumonia.
I'm such an
and
asshole.
we lived on Lawton Lane. Well, you took the brunt of it. It's just like literally I'm going to a doctor's appointment. So my mom is like, you know what? I got to make sure Lenny has a key. And I know Lenny's suspended from school. Okay. And I go, oh no, he has a key. She goes, well, we
used to do this all the time. We would get suspended, or maybe I would get suspended, and then we would tear up the referrals that came in the mail, because back then there was no internet and all that shit. So we would just get the referral, throw it away, and then we always did this. We had a deal where you'd just go spend the day fucking around, and then the other brother would just not say anything. Nobody would say a word. Yeah. And Mom never found out.
You just cover.
Right.
So so she happened to be off, and she had to take me to the doctor, and she's like, we need to go drop off a key at the school. I go, Mom, Lenny has a key. And she goes, well, I'm not sure if he does. Remember, we just had the lock. I'm like, Ma, it's okay. Because I know. I'm like, he has a key. It's fine. She goes, well, I'm going to stop there anyway. So we go to Bolingbrook High School. We pull up, and it's so funny. My mom has to park, like the school's in the distance. So my mom has to park on the periphery, and I see her get out and just start walking. And I watch her walking. I know that it's just terror. There's just terror in my heart because my mom is just walking in the distance, and I know what's waiting in the school. It's as if she's walking to her death. So she's going to walk in, and I know Lenny's fucked. Everything's ruined. So I just see her disappear as a dot on the horizon. She goes into the school. Probably 20 minutes later, I look up, and I just see the dot emerge from the school, and you just see steam just pouring off her fucking head. She's furious because now, not only is Lenny suspended, but she looks like a fucking chump because she doesn't even know where her own kid is. You know what I mean?
Her end of it too. Her end of it too was that I heard from friends later was she was in the lunchroom and they announced me, and she stood there in front of the whole school.
You never showed up.
And never showed up. And then somebody said, "Oh, he's not in school today." And she's like, out the door.
She turned around. She walked out, and so I see her coming, and I'm in the car. And again, I have walking pneumonia, so I'm legit sick. And I'm in the passenger seat, and so it's like that thing where like, oh. So I see her approaching the car, and I go to sleep. I'm just like, oh, I'm so sick. I'm sleeping. I'm out. And I see her getting closer, like out of the side eye, and I'm like, nope, not happening. And she opens the door, and she gets in, and she sits down. She goes, did you know that motherfucker isn't in school today? And she goes, wake up. Did you know that he was suspended from school? No. Oh, I can't fucking believe I look like a fucking idiot, fucking asshole. I fucking walk in. She's furious. Takes me to the doctor. Get doctor stuff done. I go home, and I haven't eaten, so my mom's like, this is like, again, such a great mom thing. She makes me a steak. It's like 3:30 in the afternoon. She's got a steak working, and I'm at the kitchen table. I'm just like, I'm so sick, but I get a steak. I'm so happy. The house smells like garlic. And this is not a joke. Lenny walks in the front door, which is to my mom is at the stove. I'm at the kitchen table looking. I'm here looking. My mom's in the foreground, and then Lenny walks in, and he's on my mom's right. And my mom is cooking a steak, and it's like sizzling. And he goes, hey guys, hey, what's going on? Oh, you're making lunch, and my mom goes, how was school today? And Lenny goes, great. And my mom hits him in the fucking face with a spatula and a fist. Bam! Just fucking sends him reeling. I was at that goddamn school today. I fucking know you respect. And Lenny goes, Mike knew. First words out of his mouth. I look so fucking stupid. I'm standing in that fucking room. You're suspended. I'm supposed to go there. I look like a fucking asshole in front of that whole fucking school. Mike knew. And I'm just like, oh. I'm at the table like, so sick. Is my steak done, Mom? I can't wait to eat that delicious steak because you love me. And literally, he's got fucking spatula welt, grease on his face. He got fucking slugged. My mom just turns around with the spatula, and she just looks at me because I'm sick. And she just goes, I will never trust you again.
Oh, dude.
And then goes back to making the steak. So he got blasted, but I got the I'll never trust you again face. And I got I felt, but look at him. That's what he does. Mike knew.
That's what he does.
Fucking dick.
Oh man, I remember that distinctly. I remember the feeling. I remember what it felt like. I remember what it felt like because Mom had a tendency to hit you in the face and somehow hit your eye to where, or what she would do worse was she had this knuckle thing that she would hit you in the back of the head somehow, and she would nail you, and your eyes would water like that. I don't know how she did it all the time, and I would be like, for a second, you're like, oh man, that, and then my eyes would just water up. Oh, it was the worst. I remember how that felt.
Yeah, mom knew like weird street fight shit that I learned later was effective and real. Like my mom would cuff you in the ear. She would literally like slap you in the ear so it would ring and you'd get spinny, like that kind of thing. And I've used that in fights. You know, the open hand slap is undefeated. I mean, seriously, it's a classic move. Use it if you have to.
Yeah. I am the older brother. I am the older brother, Rachel. I'm taking a look at people are talking. First, they were talking about our packages. I don't know how that happened. Oh, and then they called me traitor. People are mad at me now. I'm a traitor because I sold you.
Yeah, they should be. Mike knew, of course.
That's right. Larry Warden, that was not your mom in the fight. That was Ricky Crumb's mom in the fight. That's who Mom.
Yeah, she fought my mom. Yeah. Ricky Crumb's mom fought my mom.
Yeah.
Because Ricky Crumb's mom was going to fight Carol, but Carol was 8.5 months pregnant.
Sure.
So my mom went to break it up and had her back to fucking Mrs. Crumb. And
these are only problems you see in Romeoville, by the way. This is only Romeoville would you see 3 women with no shoes on, 1 pregnant, screaming, people smoking. Yeah. Come here! Screaming. Yeah. Robbie Davis says that explains a lot. Yeah, this is why we're comics. This is explaining everything.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's the best. Oh man. So what? I guess you don't have. You got the podcast. You got the Twitch thing. How you doing? Yeah. How you doing at the house, man? How are things holding up, man? Are you getting out? Are you going anywhere? Are you doing anything? Or are you hiding in the house? Are you doing any more Uber driving?
No. Fuck that. Now you know why? Because they also made it the Hunger Games in the midst of the fucking germ. Like Uber was dead to me anyway. I mean, I might have to do it eventually if things get really fucking terrible again. I don't know, but people have been very kind, so I haven't had to just yet. Yeah. But Uber just made this new thing where they're allowing drivers to set their own rates. So
really,
yeah. So like I said, it's now Lord of the Flies. Like you're competing as if we weren't competing with other drivers enough. Right. Now you're competing because if you want to do
guys?
If you want to do a $9 ride to the airport, you can. And you'll just sit there like, no, I don't want to do that. So some hardworking dude who's willing to do a bunch of shit for no money is going to take all your fares. I mean, it's just, and I don't want to do it anyway because look, Uber's they're killing people. It's just a terrible racket. It's just so bad.
Well, I've been doing the Uber Eats, man. I've been doing the Uber Eats for the last few weeks at night. And, I like Uber Eats because I don't have any people in my car. That's not so bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Uber Eats used to be better because it used to be curbside. So you pull up and people have to come out and meet you. And now it's all changed. Now it's all come upstairs and bring it to apartment 4 and whatever. So
well, that's another thing too with Uber people. You know, the whole point was chaining rides together. You would basically hope to drive to not be idle. You would want people in your car for 2 hours straight, and then you could stop or whatever. Well, the new rules are after I drop somebody off, I have to sterilize my whole car. They will not send me rides until I tell them that I've gotten out, cleaned the car out, and buffed it and Febrezed it or whatever. That was the email I got, and so then you're asking me. So I drive people, and then I'm supposed to take 10 minutes to clean the car. So if I used to want 3 rides an hour, so that but that's 10 minutes. That's a half hour just of cleaning the car in an hour if I get 3 rides.
Sure.
And it cuts your rides way the fuck down. Now it's 30 minutes of cleaning that I could be driving people. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just, and again, whatever. It's my own fault that I'm 53 and I have to be a taxi fucking driver. It's my own fucking fault. I get that. But it's just,
well,
so what am I
do? We're also in a situation that nobody saw coming. I mean, this is all, you know what I mean? I didn't think I'd be, this is the 4th time I'm delivering food in my life. And it's the 3rd time I'm in a car going, I can't believe I'm fucking delivering food again. You know, I always end up back at a car delivering food. I'm like, I can't believe I'm back here.
Well, I was lucky enough to not have to really Uber much of 2019.
That's good.
But but then I jumped back in the car in like, I had to in July, August, September. I had to, and you're just in everything you're doing. You're just like, you know, you have to because you got bills to pay and life to live. And
yeah,
all that
what are you
kind
gonna
of
do,
shit.
dude? You have no.
I know,
and
I know.
and like I don't like I could probably get away with not doing it now. Like I have some, whatever. I have some money. Like I got an SBA loan and I'm kind of surviving. But I'm also trying to buy time on the back end. You know what I mean? I don't want to wait till the money runs out and they go, oh shit, now I gotta drive. So now I'm out there driving a lot to try and make everything last longer. And for a while, like the cancellations today were kind of bad, but I thought they were coming anyway. So if they canceled through any more, I'm reaching finding a new career position. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have to figure out an option. So.
Well, yeah, I'm in the same. I agree. Like I said, I just turned 53. I don't have health insurance. I mean, I don't. It's another reasons why I don't want to go out anywhere because it's not like I can. Because before I used to have, I had amazing health insurance. My ex-wife worked at Disney, and I've had it through SAG. And then you're just like, oh man, my hair hurts. I better go see a doctor. You know what I mean? Which is fine. Yeah,
you go to
but now
for everything. Yeah.
Exactly. But now you're like, I can't even last year I had a kidney stone, and I toughed it out. I dealt with it myself at my fucking house. I'm pissing blood. And I'm just like, yeah, no, that's fine. I can't see a doctor because why would I? And people are like, you got to go to the doctor, dude. And I'm just like, yeah, that's fine. I'll probably stand up at some point today. You know what I mean? It's just, but you do what you got to do. I mean, it's just, but then also that's time down where you're just like, I used to joke, when I started doing stand-up, I was like, I'm gambling my entire normal adult life on a payoff that could be 100 times that.
Yeah.
And now you're 53 and you go, wow, I lost that bet.
Yeah,
oh man, what a drag.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, bro. I'm similar to that because I know I have a few friends that will look at Ken Jeong or Dean Larrett. Dean, he's a chiropractor. These guys they got medical degrees years ago and then went into comedy and acting and stuff. And obviously Ken has gone on to do some really successful, amazing things. But he's got this practice to fall back on. So he's like, no matter, if things get south, I have a practice or whatever. So, and for years I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm all in. I'm all in. My theory was always, I need 5 good years in this business. That's all I need is 5 good years. And that's enough money to save for my retirement. And I'll be fine. I'll be good. And now I'll be 56 this year. And you're like, and with COVID, COVID, threw the whole thing into the wind. I was, I had a little ride going. I was back in the ship. I was on the ships, and I go, well, now I'll be all right. The kids are going to college. I can pay for that, and I can get a little money saved. And this happened, and you're just like, fuck. Now, I don't know what to say. You know what I mean? I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I'm like, you're right. I lost that gamble. If there was any advice I can give to young comics and actors, it was the advice I never wanted to hear was to have something to fall back on. Have something somewhere, or at the very least save money. I never saved money very well. You know what I mean? I didn't do that well at all. And then because then when you don't, shit happens. When you have kids, suddenly I'm paying for. Lily's got math tutoring now, which is costing me like $400 a month or whatever. And I mean, something always comes up when you got kids, especially when you have kids, and even when you don't, something comes up where you're sick or whatever. You just something comes up where you spend money.
Yeah, life is just a series of that. Life is this, you say now, like you got kids and like, holy fuck, I got to pay for a tutor for $400. Well, when you move out of your house, when you're 18 or whatever the fuck, you go to an apartment, you're like, oh man, towels are like $11. You know what I mean? Like you never thought about towels when you lived at your house or sheets or any of that shit. I mean, I literally went probably 4 years without paying for Speed Stick. I'd just crotch it and walk out the goddamn door because I was like, I can't pay $3 for a Speed Stick.
$3? Where are you getting Speed Stick for $3? It's like $6 now.
This is 15 years ago. I don't steal it now, but I'm saying whatever, not even 15, 30 years, 40 years. You would do that thing where you would just like steal it because I was like, I can't pay for this. What the fuck? But then you move out of your house, things are fucking expensive. You don't realize that at all. Like I bought spoons, like I don't know who the fuck buys spoons, but I bought spoons the other day, and they're not expensive, but like, I never thought I'd have to buy spoons and shit like that. Like I tweeted one time, I was like, hey man, I just did all of my laundry. I went and bought spoons. Can somebody come over with a Madden and a pizza before I fucking hang myself? I mean, Jesus fuck. I never envisioned, and I'm still not an adult. I mean, I'm 53, but I mean, there's a reason the show's called The 40-Year-Old Boy. Because I would much rather hide under the coats than do the things I'm supposed to do or do things I have to do. The things don't, dude,
Yeah.
whatever.
See,
I'm not going to go into it, but
I got
you know,
I'm the opposite, dude. I got all my shit together on everything. You know what I mean? As far as
but
like
that's
life
okay.
insurance, medical insurance, but I have to because of the kids, dude. Once you have kids, you got.
But let me jump in real fast because that's what you talk about. Like you said, when you have kids, 'cause I was smart enough not to have kids because I knew.
Yeah,
Well, first of all,
that's a good point.
there was there was a complication with my ex-wife that scotched that anyway.
Right.
She got sick and it wasn't going to be a possibility. But also in my heart, I knew I was the kid, and the comedy career was the kid for me. That was the shit I was going to have to chase and take care of because I knew if I had a kid, it was over for me.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I wasn't a club comic like you. And that's another thing too. When we talk about the pandemic or whatever the fuck, and we talk about having something to fall back on. You know, I never. If you want to give advice to young comics, you and I are the yin and the fucking yang of the business because you worked your ass off. You hustled. You made contacts. You worked clubs. You worked all over, and now you're in the position you're in. I didn't work nearly as hard. I didn't work hard enough, and I'm in the position I'm in. Well, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But this is the perils of chasing a career in arts and entertainment. This is the perils of chasing a dream.
Yeah.
And I'm still chasing it. I'm still trying to make it happen, as are you. We both are. Everybody is. Well, there's all these new avenues now where you can try it, whether it's podcasting or whatever the fuck. Right. But it is a gamble, man. It is a gamble.
Well, it is a gamble, but you look at the big picture. Thank God for all these different avenues, because the entire industry is just completely shut down on every aspect, like literally everything. Even if you're really successful. I mean, if you're successful, you just have money in the bank and you're fine. But there are hundreds and thousands of entertainers who are just touring musicians, singers, dancers, and they're just blue collar workers, and they're check to check. They can't go 6 weeks without work, let alone 6 months. So I got a lot of friends who are in a lot of trouble right now, and no one. Yeah. And I'm not whining because I understand everybody's going through a lot of shit. One of the biggest reason I had the show is because of that. Those are the people I talk to. Is that we basically, even though we're gambling, we're surviving. You know, we've been paying our bills. We're alive. We're here. We're eating. We're living the life we want to live. We're doing what we want to do. And this has almost completely shut that down for so many people right now. That's a tough thing to deal with.
Yeah, and but it also shows you because people think of being a Major League Baseball player as glamorous, and it is when you're a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, but
the 14 years of touring leagues and high school and little league and minor leagues and college ball, all of that shit, you don't make a dime.
Yeah. And
then you get to the majors and now it's time for you to make some money. And people are unforgiving of that. When they see you know, you're a comedian and I do a podcast, you know, hey, look, if it's not for Jimmy putting me on the show and if it's not for Pat Francis getting sick, I'm not invited to do Never Not Funny. And then I don't do the first show that makes the chemistry work where they go, Jesus, we got to keep Mike on. And I'm not talking to you now in the capacity I'm talking to you. I might have a real job somewhere. Yeah, so I wasn't a club comic. I didn't hustle. Yeah. I didn't try to do anything like that. But everybody thinks entertainment. Everybody sees this. And look, I'm not boo-hooing. I'm not hanging fucking drywall. All right. I do side hustles and shit like that. But this is my main gig because this is what I'm good at. This is what I'm best at.
Right.
And I'm so grateful for generous people who handle my Patreon, who support the shows, who allow me to chase the dream of doing what I'm best at for a living. But at the same fucking time, we know, I know, you know, I'm Ubering on the side. I've bounced. I've worked private security for parties. I mean, I've done all this shit because I'm still chasing it and trying to make it happen. And this isn't glamorous. This isn't anything. This is still hard work, even though I still also, because you and I both have that Midwest thing where it's like, hey man, if I'm not building birdhouses or constructing a deck or whatever the fuck, I'm not working.
Yeah, right.
But bullshit, this is work. This is not something everybody can do. You know, you did comedy on stage for, you know, 1,000 people a night on the ship. And sometimes the same people are seeing you over and over. So you got to be different. You got to change it. You got to do this. I mean, it's a job that requires hard work and detail.
Yeah. No, well, you don't get right now unless you work at it, you know?
Yes. I've been doing this 30 years.
Yeah. Well, you got to.
But again, if it's not for podcasting, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
No, it's that if you're not working and not getting better and not being constantly relevant in this business, you're going to get left behind. You know, people aren't going to follow you. People don't care. You know, you gotta work on your end to be both entertaining and be good at what you do. And I don't think a lot of people don't understand what goes into that. I guess
because you can't sit there and go, do you know how hard this is to do? You know what I mean? How hard it is to do stand up, or how? Because also another thing too, what we do is, and I've decried this a little bit on my show, it's becoming cheapened by the fact that Twitter and all these things, and everybody has an avenue on YouTube. Everybody thinks they're a comedian. So you get lumped in with this tsunami of people who think they're funny because they typed out a funny joke once. You know what I mean?
And they don't look at the influencers or YouTubers that got attention, then lots of followers, and suddenly they're a comedian. You know what I mean? Or suddenly and then they get a deal. Or there's been endless. How many of them ended up on the road? It just hasn't. The road is hard for all of them. They can't do the road. You know. But
a lot of them don't. They don't even fucking do the road. Like they just do. Someone will start a podcast and call themselves.
There's been a few that go out and do it, and they're all, dude, I have 5 million followers, dude. I'm gonna crush. And look, there was some kid in the Northwest that did one show and was iffy. He was supposed to do the weekend. I can't remember his name. The girls would know, but he did one show Friday that was kind of okay, and the Saturday show was not good. I mean, it was not good at all. And that's the thing, when if you're touring, you got to think about. You got to be on I always think about Billy Joel's song, The Entertainer. You got to be every night. You got to be new, relevant, ready to go, and good. New, relevant, ready to go, and good. And if you're not, they just forget about you. You're gone. Yeah. And in order to keep that up over 25, 30 years or whatever, it's a lot of work, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I've done a show about my life every week for the last 12 years. And it's, you know, try sitting at an open mic and talk just even talk about anything. Try to talk about anything for an hour. I dare you.
Right.
You know, and I hate to sound like that, but if anybody dismisses what you do out of hand, you just want to go, you couldn't do what I do.
Right.
It's not ever.
Well, sports was a great example of that when you brought up baseball recently, because nobody looks into people, especially football, I think. Mahomes just signed that big fat deal not long ago, and somebody posted on Facebook, my friend Katie did, she's like, this is what's wrong. This is ridiculous. He doesn't deserve this money. And I responded again like an idiot on Facebook. I think I'm going to have a reasonable conversation. I do this constantly. And I go, I go, I understand he's getting paid a lot of money, but you're not counting the 18 years of his life before this that he beat the shit out of his body on a daily basis, and the fact he goes out there every night and beats the shit out of his body, surrounded by the best athletes in the world, and the fact that if people are yelling at him when he's, you know, you don't think about what goes into that. And now this is
and 70,000 people will pay to watch him do that too.
That's the other thing, because the amount of money he's generating for the city of Kansas, and this is even before he threw money at the Royals. This is before that happened. You know what I mean? Where he jumped into that owners group. I go, you got to think about the amount of money. First of all, they won a Super Bowl. That city, everything changes. I mean, you got to think about the money, the economy, how that's going to affect. He's got the #1 jersey in the league. I mean, he deserves that money. And in football, for the most part, you're only playing 5 or 6 years. You know what I mean? I know big names. Sometimes you go 15 years, you have a great career. But let's be honest, most guys, the average career of a football player, I believe, is 4.5 years. I think somewhere around there.
Just even on the generous side, say you're done by 30.
Sure. Yeah.
Your career is over at 30.
Yeah. You're done.
And you're judging this guy.
You're not working from 30 on. You don't think about those years 30 forward. And don't give me this. Well, he could do this and he could. No. You can't say he could or he might or he would. You got to think he's done with his career at 30. You have to think about that.
They always spin it too, where they're like, I can't believe these football players make all this money. Why, our American heroes, the doctors and the grocery store workers should get all of this cash. It's like, yeah. When was the last time you paid to watch a guy bag groceries? Yeah, sure. I want to know. When did you buy a $130 ticket to go watch a guy bag your fucking groceries?
Dude, you know what I think is going to happen? Honestly, I'm watching these. I'll tell you what. I'm watching these baseball games with no fans, and I'm thinking after a few weeks, the players are going to go, "This is pretty fucking cool. This isn't so bad. They're piping in noise. We don't care. We're playing a game. We're getting paid our money. We get to play the game. Nobody's yelling at me. Nobody's spitting at me. Nobody's screaming. I don't have to sign autographs. I don't have to do any of the bullshit that they do as a baseball player on the side. There's none of that stuff. Nobody's rushing the field. Maybe we should keep this up for a while. Maybe it's not a bad idea to have no fans at games. I think every sport's got to look at that and be like, this isn't so bad.
Yeah. I agree, man. And you know, like I think again, the athlete is a really good example because it's a short you have a short window to try to make something happen. Now look, you can make a living like a lot of guys can retire at 30 or 32 and then get a job as a coach or stay in the industry or be a broadcaster. Like same thing with a comedian. You know, you can always find a way to be in the industry. You know what I mean? I don't know if you'll always be relevant, but you can try to find a way.
Yeah.
But there's a quote from a movie. There's a movie called The Devil's Rejects, and William Forsythe is a sheriff, and he's about to do terrible things to some serial killers. And he says this line, and he says, "We here are playing on a level that most will never see." And I related to that line so much, just in a comedy way, where it's like you see these people with Twitter or YouTube or making a funny video or a TikTok that's 9 seconds long, and you're like, well, I'll tell you what, 30 years in the business, we here are playing on a level that most will never see. 2 hours on an open microphone without a fucking script. Yeah. We here are playing on a level that most will never see.
Yeah, right. That's true. That's totally true. All right, man. On that, I think, wow, see, that was an hour and 15 minutes. So I talk to you, it goes long. I usually go really short.
Well, I mean, we had at least 25 minutes of dead air, I got to imagine. So that probably wasn't good.
We did stare at each other for a little bit there, and I had some trouble. By the way, your clip is still playing in the background, and now it's fluffy. I've seen 9 comics besides you for some reason. I don't know what I hit or what I did, but I'm not getting the right.
Did you hold your viewership? That's important. Did people bail on you?
We held strong. We held strong, and people came and left and came and all that stuff. And we're holding strong right now. We're at 23. I like that. That's not bad. Right. That works for me. That's on Facebook. I'm still working on the transfer to YouTube. On YouTube, we have 1 person watching on YouTube. That's really cool.
That's good. Nothing wrong with that.
No, I'll take it, dude. That's the beginning. Plus, I got to work on my my plugging on YouTube. I'm not titling and tagging correctly for the new stream. I just started streaming on both platforms. I'm eventually going to switch just to YouTube. So
you're better than me, man. I do the Twitch stream, and I should be doing so much more than I am. But you learned stuff. I look at it and I just go, nope. I walk away because it's terrible. I wish it wasn't the truth, but I do. This is what I do. This is what I do. I talk. My buddy Ahmad is in Kuwait, and he's like, "What if you hired a person like to do your YouTube stuff?" And I'm like, from your castle in Kuwait, that's good for you to say. Yeah, but I mean, I'm in the middle of a fucking. I mean, and again, he's being really generous and incredibly nice, and thinking, well, if you had somebody to do that, it would really help. And I'm like, you're damn right, it would. Wouldn't that be great? Yeah, but also it would help.
I've had a couple people comment I've had the help I've had, like Larry stepped in and helped big time with the internet was huge, and then Alex has helped with the video stuff early on, and everybody's got input. Keith has always some sort of input or something for the show. Everybody's been really helpful and supportive. But the thing that here's what I mentioned this a little bit earlier. I'm spending so much time watching these tutorials like this. I'm using this vMix for the production, and then I got Audacity. Audacity? Is that what it's called? Audible? What is it called? Audacity?
No, Audacity is the podcast thing,
right.
Yeah.
I got that.
I use that too.
Sony Vegas that I edit some of the stuff in. I got this stuff but I watch more times than not. I go, well, I want to do this. And I'll go, okay. And then I got to watch like 3 tutorials. And before I know it, it's like I'm an hour and 15 minutes in. So I'm doing it all, but I was telling the girls I have no time to write content. Like I haven't sat down and go, fuck it. I'm going to write comedy all day. I'm just going to focus on comedy. So that like this weekend, I have a Patreon thing with my Patreon members. We do a writers group thing. And this Saturday, I'm just going to write all day. That's all I'm going to do. I got notes. I got all kinds of stuff I've been working on. And I'm just going to focus on comedy. I just feel I did it for a couple hours last week on a day, and I felt so good just writing jokes, and just writing stories. This will be funny. And then if it's not, whatever, and blah, 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 just what I used to do before. Now most of it is studying, and it's just my head hurts. It's just too much studying, man. I don't.
Well, I'm glad you decided to have me on a couple days before you wrote some comedy. Good. Thanks.
Well, dude, I needed someone that could kill time. And, man, you are like you are an innings eater, my friend. Thank you very much. That's the best.
Yeah, I'm a time killer. There's no doubt.
I'm a time killer. All right, man. Happy birthday, dude. Thank you so much for being here, man. You're the best. I'll call you a little bit later. That's my brother, Mike. Everybody say goodbye to my brother, Michael, on his birthday. All Mike Schmidt. Yeah. Woo-hoo.
Love you, dude.
Yeah, I love you too, man. Take care. Happy birthday, buddy. All right. That's
Nice.
Mike Schmidt, guys. That's my brother Mike. You guys were great. Thanks for everybody being here, man. Thank you so much for coming and tuning in. I appreciate it. You guys have been great. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Every once in a while, you have a special show. Tomorrow is one of those. Thursday. Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, Rick Overton will be here. A very good friend of mine, comedian, great improviser, great comic, great actor, great screenwriter. I'm really happy to have him on the show. He's going to be here tomorrow. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. Next week, we have Tom Dreesen. He'll be here on Tuesday. That's a special show as well. And then later in the week, at the end of the week on Friday, Brian Noonan will be here, who I was on his show a few weeks ago on WGN Radio in Chicago. He will be here on my show on Friday. It's a little payback. I have to do that. I'm kidding. He's a very funny man. Great stand-up guy who I don't get to see him much, but he will be here. We will talk stand-up comedy, family, and all kinds of stuff. So that's what we got going on. The show's on YouTube already, so I don't have to worry about uploading it. The podcast for the show will be up by tomorrow. That shouldn't be a problem. All you guys, again, thanks for being here. If you want to throw some money at the show, feel free to throw some Venmo money at the show. I would appreciate it. We'll use that to support whatever I use or whatever technology I use. Besides that, the rest of you guys, you've been great. Thank you for being here as always. Do me a favor, dream of Pinky.
Lenny Schmidts Quarantine Comedy is hosted and produced by, Lenny Schmidt, duh. If you enjoyed today's show, like the video on YouTube, give it a thumbs up or a way to go or whatever the most popular social media thing these kids today are doing. It goes a long way and it really helps us out. Check the description below for info on all today's guests, as well as the host. If you're a fan, you can follow them, like them, or even support them. Go to their site or page and hit their Venmo, PayPal, buy a shirt, an album, a download. Anything you will spend will literally help save the arts. In fact, if you want to support this show, just go to Venmo at Lenny Schmidt. It will help pay for all the stuff that my dad keeps breaking. Lenny Schmidt's Quarantine Comedy airs on Facebook Live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Each show is recorded, then uploaded to YouTube and released as a podcast the very next day. Also at 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Everything's 6 p.m. We keep it simple. That's all we can handle. Thank you for listening to my dad's show, and as always, dream of Pinky.